Hi, I'm Chris from Development. Let's take a quick look on how we can set up the email module. And this is utilizing Mailgun. So you need to have an account with Mailgun first to be able to set this up. But what this does is allows you to send email through the server-side API as well as utilize the user registration email confirmation feature. And it's fairly simple to do. Once you have the Mailgun account set up, you go ahead and punch in the proper things into the Webmin, and then you're all ready to go. So if you have not set up the Webmin yet or run through that guide, then you should definitely do so. And we'll go ahead and take a look at the Webmin now. And in the Webmin, in the configuration section here, there is Mailgun settings, and it's your key and your Mailgun domain. So I'm going to go ahead and jump over to my Mailgun here, and let's take a look what we got. Here in my main area here on my Mailgun, I can go ahead and down at the bottom, I'm just going to use my sandbox domain. This is just for testing. You actually would go ahead and create a custom domain and etc. All that documentation is within Mailgun itself. This is at mailgun.com. But as far as getting this information into the Coronium Core server, I'm going to go ahead and just copy this sandbox domain here, and I'm going to jump back over to my Webmin. I'm going to go ahead and put that in my Mailgun sending domain here, and then I'm also going to need my Mailgun private key. So let me jump back over to Mailgun here, and that can be found here in your private API key. And I'm actually going to go ahead and do this off screen for obvious purposes. And then once I have my private API key, I'm going to go ahead and paste that in to my Mailgun key, and I'm going to hit update, and it tells me that my settings were updated successfully. So that means that I'm now all set up to utilize my email module server side, as well as use email confirmation with users. So that will be something that you'll have to look at in the user registration confirmation video. But that's how you set that up as far as getting those things all in place. So we can look quickly at the email module here, and we'll do this by just creating a quick project here using the projects area. When you want to use the email module, the email module is actually a server-side module, so you'll need to run it through a custom API project. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a new project, and we'll just call this email test. And I'll add that project, and then once I have that added, I can go ahead and edit that code. There is the warning here about that this does not auto-save, so you definitely need to make sure that you save your work. You can also use hotkeys, Command S for Mac, Control S for Windows, or you can press the save button. If the save button is yellow, it means that your work has not been saved, so make sure that you keep an eye out for that. So we'll write a quick function here. I'm going to just go ahead and change this API test to, we'll call it API send. We'll have some input here. And I'm going to go ahead, and what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to send up an email address we want to send to, and then let's say a subject and a message. So I'm just going to go ahead and start grabbing those. I'll say email to will be input that email, and then we'll say subject will be equal to input that subject. And then we'll do the message, which will be input.message. And these will all be pushed up from the client side as our API. Then to utilize the email module, I'm going to go ahead and save this. So I'm doing a Command save. You can see now that this has turned green, which means that I am saved up to this point. I'll jump into the documentation here for Coronium Core, and in the server modules under email we can see how we can utilize this. The first thing we need is a reference to the email object, and we do that by using this here. So let me go ahead and I just copied that to make it easy. So I have local message equals core.email new. So now I have this message object that I can start to utilize to send an email message. So there are a number of different values that I can add in here. I'm going to be wanting to use the to from, I'll use the subject and the test, and so we'll go ahead and start adding those into here. So I'll say message to, and that's going to be email to, which is that value that's being passed up. I'm going to do message from, and that's going to be an email that I want to have be the from email, and I'm just going to put code@development.com. We're going to have message subject, it's going to be hello, and then we'll do the message. In this case I'm just going to do a text email. So here is a text-based email. And then when that's all done, then I have my response and error, which will be coming back from message.send, which is the final call you make. Once you've built up your message object here, then you're going to want to send it. And then in this case here, I'm going to say if not response, then I'm going to return an error to the client, which is core.error. And that will be the error message, and if not, then I'm just going to go ahead and return their response. So that's pretty much how you set up a message. Again, you have to do this on the server side because it's a server-side API. So now from the client side, I'm going to want to send up this information to my send endpoint, and this project is called email test. So let's go ahead and jump over to the client and take a look at how we can work with that. So let me get rid of some of this stuff here. So my project, I'm going to need to go ahead and add that to my initialization function here, and that project was email test. And this is all this should have been read ahead of time. This is all covered in the previous documentation, so hopefully you've gone through that, and if you haven't, then you should read through on how to work with the projects, etc., etc. And so we're going to do core API, and our endpoint was send, and then what we want to send up was email to, and we're going to send this to sleeptankxyz@gmail.com. And our subject will be, actually I had already placed that in the code up here, the subject and those things, but I'm going to go ahead and change that just so we can see it being passed up. So there's that, and then copy this out. This will be my message. And again, we're saving that up. I can see that I got the green light there, which is good. So down here, my subject will be hello, and then my message will be, here's email text. Get these out of here. Okay, so there's that, and then we'll need our onResponse handler. So hopefully this should send to our endpoint here, and then it's going to pass these values, the email to, subject, message. Those will get sent up to the endpoint here that we have set up. It's going to take those in. Actually, we just called it email, so let's make sure we change that. And it's going to grab all those. We create this new email object, and then we do the email to. I have my email from here, the subject and the message, and then we call the message send, and if we don't get a response, then we're going to get an error, so we'll pass that back. If not, we're going to get a response, and we'll send that back down to the client. So we're all saved up here. Let's go ahead and we'll run this and see if we have any luck. So there we go, we get our result, and this is coming back from Mailgun. It says our message has been queued, so that means that we are all good there. If that wasn't the case, then we would have gotten an error. We could have seen what that was about. At this point now, it's just a matter of kind of waiting till the message reaches us. So let's jump over here and see if we got anything yet from our message, and here we go. This is to the email. Here is a text-based email, and that was sent, and so that all worked out fine. So that's pretty much how you set up the Mailgun into your Coronium Core system. And then we showed a quick example on how to use the email module from the server side, and also a quick little example of how we can build the project code right here in our Coronium Webmin. So that pretty much covers that. Thanks for watching.